think about it, right? So I had, when I was like it wasn't even a teenager, but I was in my 20s or whatever. I had these, you know, like when I read the long stories, like in long series, and it would be like series that are like mad, like 20 books in. So I had this one series the books that I read. It was the first 3 books, and the first 3 books was literally about this young woman who lived in a planet, right? So she, you know, it's like a Earth-like planet. She lives in the Earth-like planet. And then there was like a spaceship that's crash lands on the planet, and then she rescues this it's like a feline type of animal. At first, it looked like a tiger, but it really wasn't a tiger. It was like a man tiger. So finally, so she rescues it, and then because of the rescue, she could talk to it, but the way she talked to it was mind to mind, and she was like, oh, okay. So finally, because of them, the police on the planet discovered this spaceship craft, the spaceship, and they were trying to capture the creature. So finally, she escaped with the creature, and now they go into outer space and they're traveling, the universe and everything. So in their travels, they happen to go to different worlds and then fall in love or whatever, and then they ended up going they ended up going or being part of this intergalactic war. And so she was because she was a doctor, that was one of the reasons she was able to save him. So she helps out a bunch of ways. They end up falling in love, and then they now have a family and stuff like that. So that's like the first book, and it's a great book, and I'm like, oh my god, I cannot wait to read the second book. Now in the second book, you meet them again, and then they now traveling to another world where they get captured by the other enemy fighters, and then they get put in prison. Now while they're put in prison, the main general of that facility start doing experiments on them, and the way they did experiments was to actually get them to interbreed with other species. So there was a whole interbreed. I'm like, oh my god. So first of all, it was this great love story like this. Then it went to interspecies breeding. So now you're talking about DNA fixing. I'm like, holy crap. So you're thinking that, okay, it's the two sides that are having a war, and they're the ones fighting. And so that's what you're thinking is happening. But on the side, there's this creature that's actually watching all of this going on, because he's in another dimension, and he's the one actually controlling everything and really doing the experiments between the interspecies. And I'm like, yo, holy crap, because they can't communicate with this particular realm. And the only way they could communicate is through sensations and feelings. So that's why they were trying to interbreed, so they could get them to mind talk, because that was the way to get the communication going, so that you can speak across dimensions. And so this is by this time we're in a 6th book, right, of this series. And I'm talking about because when I first read the first 3 books, it was great, and then I had to wait 3 or 4 years before the author came back with these stories, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Because once you learn about esoteric knowledge and about different dimensions, and you're thinking, okay, I'm reading this book and this is a story, but again, once you start to learn about all of this knowledge out there, you're like, wait a minute, this is real. This is our own history. And it's not so much that it's crazy, it's just so this is why I say a lot of the time the way to get to us is through these stories, either movies or books, and that's why you get all this type of imagination flowing and going, because you're like, wait a minute, yes, it's interspecies relationships, yes, it's this other world, but in a way all this stuff truly exists. And and I don't know, it's just opened this whole new world for me, and that's why I'm I don't necessarily discount any of these stories, because once you start relating them back to yourself, once you start seeing the connections, you're yeah, these are actual powers that we have right now. It's just opening your mind up to this type of information and to this knowledge and to the possibility that you can do that. you know. And this is why I'm usually like very excited about sci-fi stuff, and I'm very excited about like, you know, just, you know, because before, this is literally where I used to get my esoteric knowledge, you know, until I was like, okay, wait a minute, this is absolutely, there's a whole world out there where this information is not science fiction, but actually truth, you know. And, you know, I know you were taping.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.